Hi, hello, it's troy-nicole, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that is tiny little journals. And we're going to be talking about how to journal in them if you're either used to big journals like an A5 or a B6 or anything like that. And we'll also be talking about how I use mine specifically and how I went from using very large journals to kind of condensing what I do in large journals to the smaller ones. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So anyway, we have three of my journals. We're going to go through not all of them. Like we're not going to do a flip through because I'm not done with these, but I'm going to show you a few things and we're going to talk about how I use them and everything else. So let's get into it. Okay, so my first tip is to minimize the stationery you take out when you're doing these journals. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples. So what I mean by this is taking out a certain amount of stationery that you're going to use for this page specifically kind of forces you to use what you have in front of you instead of your whole collection. So if you're a journal hoarder, if you're a stationery hoarder, you may have a lot of stationery. Like I have a lot of stickers and that can be very overwhelming. So for example, let me go to a page that is very, very heavy on stationery and ephemera and stuff. Okay, we're going to use this page in comparison. So this page, there is a lot going on. We have two different tea bags. We had a 𝚗𝚘𝚎 that I downloaded. We have little stickers here and here. These are not real wax seals. We have stickers here. We have stars, washi tape. This is a lot of decoration. And you'll find that when you have a bigger canvas, you end up doing a lot more. So on this one, stickers, stickers, sticker, 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 stickers, stickers, a photo from Tumblr, background image, I guess, sticker, sticker. This is a lot. And not to say you can't do this much stuff in a smaller journal, but if you're just starting out, it may be helpful when you're condensing to start off a little bit smaller. That way you have places to write if you want to write. So moving back into this is my mini moleskin. If you compare it, in that other one, I had probably more than 7 or 8 different types of stationery in there. And not just stationery, but different types of stickers and washi tape and all types of things. In this one, I have one. So these are the same. These came from the same like bag that stickers were in. Okay. These were in the same, so that's 2. This is just the back of this, so that's 3. 4, because these are the same. Did I count the stars? Okay, maybe I did or did not. I don't remember. So 5. So this is more of a loaded page, and it just shows that there are ways to still have that same amount of stationery in a page this small. You just have to learn how to work around the fact that you don't have a large scale to do it in. So you can also look at this page. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 here. Oh, 7 if you count the washi tape. 8. Oh, 8. So I have 8 in this page. And what happens a lot of times when I do these pages is I'll take out maybe 3 packets of stickers, and then I'll take out like 4 or 5 washi tapes, or I'll take out 2 mild liners, and that's it. You don't see me take out anything else. And you guys kind of see it when I do these journal pages where I will separate the stationery that I know I'm going to use, or at least I want to use, on the table, on my desk, whatever. So I'm not constantly looking for something. Because I feel like even when you've been journaling for a very long time, it can still be very overwhelming, very stressful to do this. So that's why I say less is more. You can still put the same amount of stationery in your journals. It can still look busy and everything, and you can still have it in your little journals. Now, this journal doesn't have too many pages that are minimal. If you're more of a minimal girly, but you still want to do a little bit of decoration, hold on again, I'm trying to find one that's not filled with my musings. You can do something like this. I'm sorry, I couldn't find one that this is my diary, so I had to blur this out. But you can do it like this, where you have maybe like a pair of things from the same sticker sheet, and these are all from the one sticker package, but whatever. But there's only 4 stickers here, and I just kind of lay them wherever I want to lay them, and then I just write around them, so it kind of gives it the look that they're meshed into the page. You can do it like this, but of course you could also do it with no decoration. But the point of this tip is if you do want to add decoration. So you can also do something like this, or like this, where I just have like a picture of me and my aunt at a One Direction concert, and then little stickers here and there that don't really mean anything. Like, I'm pretty sure these stickers had nothing to do with what I was writing about. And you can still add, receipts. I copied this to my computer and then reprinted it, and so on and so forth. You can also add doodles if you don't really want to do stickers. That's something to really, think about as well. But needless to say, what I'm saying is minimize your stationery. You can minimize it and be minimal, or you can minimize it and be maximal. It just depends on you. Okay, tip number 2. You need to get it out of your head that big equals best. Because let me show you something. Sometimes a lot of space can be very, very overwhelming. Let me show you this. There are so many times where I have all this space and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do a lot of decoration. I'm going to do more writing than decoration. But then there are other days where I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to do more decoration and then little bits of writing. Here as well, there's lots of decoration, a little bit of writing. And I find that a lot of times when I do a lot of decoration in these that overpower my writing, it's because I'm overwhelmed by how big A5s are. Meanwhile, if you go to, I'll open this one this time. If you go something small like a passport size, you have this little section here. Not a lot of page when you don't really want to write anything. You can just do a small amount. You can add 1 sticker or 2 stickers, maybe a stamp, and then write to your heart's content without thinking about, oh, I need to fill up the entire page, because you have this little bit of space that is honestly very easy to run through. You can still put a lot into little notebook, as you can see with my moleskin. Like, look how much is still in here, even though it's so tiny, and I'm still using lots of decorations, lots of all types of things in here, even though it's so little. It's pocket size. Like, it fits in my hand. And you don't know me, but my hand is small. Okay? This is an A5. This is where my hand fits. Like, my hand is little. And honestly, sometimes minimal can be more beautiful than maximal, just as much as maximal can be more beautiful. Oh my god, English degree goes out the window every time I do one of these videos. And sometimes a maximal spread can have more beauty than a minimal one. Oh my god. Why was that so hard for me to get out? But yeah, so then I even done scrapbook pages, and you can do things small. You just have to remember that just because it's big does not mean it's better. Just because it's small does not mean it's better. Okay, tip number 3 is something you guys probably saw in this one quite a bit, and that is to have an idea of what you want before you start it. Such as, like picking a theme before you start to journal. So I'm going to go, you see, there's quite a few spreads that need to be written in, but I'm going to go past all these to right here. So in what month is this? March? Yeah. So in March, I was feeling a little emo about the spring coming. Fall and spring are my favorite seasons, but I just get really melancholy when fall ends and winter ends. I'm not a big winter person, but winter in Texas might as well be fall. So 9 times out of 10, like late September through October and November aren't that chilly in Houston, and it feels kind of like spring. But no, late November into December and January are the days you actually get semi-cold days, but like Houstonian cold. So I was feeling sad because I was gonna miss the cozy weather. I was gonna miss being able to walk outside in a cardigan. If I were to walk outside with a cardigan today, I would die of a heat stroke. So that's not good. Anyway, my point was that I really wasn't in the mood to write, but I had the idea that the theme would be fall centered, Halloween centered. And what I like about this tip is that it makes your whole feed a little bit more precise, especially if you don't know what you want to do. So, for example, let's see, where is it? Where is it? I like to do weekly wins here and there. So my weekly wins this week was I watched some Drew Barrymore movies. I finally redid the wall above my bed because I wasn't in love with how it was looking. I got back on my acne medicine, which very upset with them because they closed randomly, but whatever. But this kind of helps you stick to something. So if you decide that you want your whole spread, I don't know, to be okay, here it is. So if you want your whole theme to be filled with oranges and yellows, then that can help you pick stickers. It can help you pick washi tape. It can help you pick all types of markers and pens you want to use. I tend to stick to black pens, but some people like to draw in color pens, and that's fine too. You might want to name it like I do. I named it the name of a movie and the name of one of my favorite Ed Sheeran songs. But I like to do this specifically because once I've gotten a color scheme down, or once I've gotten a specific theme, like maybe this was a music theme, this was a movie theme, maybe I was really feeling in the mood for coffee, so I put coffee and tea down. Or maybe I was really thinking about getting a cat. I don't know, wanted to write a whole story about cats, not story, page about cats. Whatever the theme may be, it can really help you emphasize what you want to do, and you can end up taking out pictures, stationery, all types of materials you need to do your page. So that's always a good idea to have an idea of what you want. And if you don't know, you could always look on like Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram. But one thing I will always say about inspiration is that inspiration can really set you back as well as keeping you moving forward. So if you feel like your inspiration is turning into a lot of perfectionism, or you just giving up because it's not looking like you expect it to look or like other people's look, then definitely move away from that. But if it does help you, check it out. And for this, I can also show you like this one. I wanted to have like the starry night sky look to it. So I added stars that were gold, but I also drew black stars, and I kept it with about three colors and a pretty neutral color scheme. Same thing with this one. I really liked the neutral colors and the black, so I kept to that theme. This one was a complete musical theme, so I wanted to post my what is it called? My day list. And it was really, I think it had coffee in its name, so I put coffee in it, musical notes, and wrote a little bit about each of them. So that is one thing I love to do. Sometimes I will go into my journals and think, you know what? I've really been enjoying this playlist on Spotify, and I'll make a whole page about that playlist. And I'll write the whole playlist down, where I got the playlist. There's even times where I may find a playlist on YouTube with my favorite K-pop songs. Like, y'all know, if y'all watch my vlogs here and there, that there's a specific 17 playlist I listen to all the time. And I write down in every single one of my journals what playlist I'm listening to, what audiobook I'm listening to. So you can also do that. Make an audiobook spread. If you're listening to an audiobook and you really want to make a spread about it, make a spread about it. I'm listening to Daydream by Hannah Grace right now, and it's so cute and I adore it. And I may want to make a spread that looks exactly like Hannah Grace's book. So that may mean I want blues and pinks and cute pictures from Tumblr of people dating and stuff like that. So theme is a really good one that I always enjoy doing. Okay, so number 4 is to start with one big item. So what I mean by that is to start big and work your way down. This was actually something we learned in art when I was younger, and I'm gonna see if I can show you in this booklet. So what I mean by this is you take the biggest stationery that you're going to put into your page and start with that. So for example, the biggest piece of stationery on this page are these two background pieces. So you have this little craft paper back here and this photo of some type of plants right here. So typically what I do is I'll start with those two big ticket items, and I will paste them down wherever I want to, and they stay there. They don't move. That is where I'm pasting them down, and I don't think about it. And this can be anything like washi tape, paper bags, receipts, stuff like that. And this also helps you know how small everything else needs to be. So, for example, more than likely, when I made this spread for the 2024 New Year, I started with these because I had no choice but to start with those. And then I knew how much space I needed to be able to write and to put other stickers. So, obviously, if I wanted this part to be written on, then all my stickers had to stay within these boxes. And they kind of do, except for the washi tape and the little 2024 sign, they stay within these rings. And the other thing is, when you start with these large items, you can really center everything else around them by kind of sizing it down. So if I put this craft paper there, I'm like, well, if I want to be able to write, nothing else can be that much bigger than this. Like maybe it could be this much bigger, but I want more place to write, so I would keep it within these range, and anything that I put on here would be smaller than this. And this happens to me every time I put a background image like that. So if you look at this one, then you see that these two are the big background items I more than likely put down first, and everything else kind of just makes its way around it. There's nothing in the middle of them stopping them or breaking up the words or anything like that, and everything is much smaller than these. With this one as well, we have these big stickers, and then everything else like this and this and this are much smaller, and even my doodles are smaller. That way I won't have anything look too clunky. Nothing's wrong with that because plenty of my pages do look clunky, but so it can follow kind of a theme and look like I purposely did this. And I think it does. I think it matches the whole concept. Okay, so this one might be a little obvious, but listen, when I was getting into journaling in my early years, especially of creative journaling, I didn't think of this, so I'm going to put it out there. And that is, if you have a stationary item that you want to use, but it's too big, just cut it down. This probably seems like an obvious one, but listen, I've written off stationery in the past and ephemera items as well just for being too big for my passport size, for my A6, for my pocket size, when I could have just cut them down. When I could have just scanned them to my phone and then cropped them down to fit this. For example, I don't need to keep the receipt that has a survey at the bottom. I can cut off the survey. It doesn't need to be in there. I'm never going to do the survey. I'm not winning anything. So I might as well cut off that part. Another thing, no one needs to see my last four digits of my credit card. So maybe I'll cut that out. I don't really need to see how much all of dinner cost, especially if dinner was McDonald's. So I may cut that off and I just want to see where I went and what I got. Because to me, the important part of the receipt is the place and what I bought and who I was with. Nothing else matters. Not the cost, not what I spent on those people that I was with or what they spent on me. What's important is what I'm writing down. So something I can show you is, for example, this is my old luggage tag. And I used to, and I still sometimes do, use the large luggage part. But I was just like, no, why do I need that whole luggage part? All I need is one little part that says where I was going, what airline I was at, and that's it. Same thing with this. This place is called Pike Kitchen in Maryland. And this was a receipt. And I didn't really need the whole thing because I get the same thing there every time I go. Never anything new. I don't know why. I just never get anything new. This is nothing but cake. I took it off because, again, I get the same thing every time I go. It's always either a red velvet cake or a lemon cake. Nothing different. I don't try their frosted flakes or whatever cereal they have at the time, cake or anything like that. So you don't always have to keep them huge. You don't always have to keep everything on the receipt, the playbill, any of those things. You can cut up a little bit of it. Maybe, for example, I went to see the Nutcracker with my sister last year, and we got this, program from it. I don't need the whole program. The program is like bigger than an A5. I could have cut off character faces and I meant actor faces, but I could have cut the Nutcracker into those creepy looking, not creepy, I think they're really cute, but like the serial killer letters that people do, like the ransom letters. And you can do stuff like that if they're way too big. They don't have to be big on your page. So this is going to sound counterproductive, but the next one is don't start too small. If you're someone worried about downsizing, then going too small can be a bit overwhelming, just as much as it can be if you go too big. So instead of jumping to a very small journal like a pocket or even a passport, because they're honestly relatively similar. Try going down to something that isn't as big than as an A5, but is relatively a decent size. So, for example, I love the size of an A6. It honestly doesn't seem as that much bigger than pockets, but they honestly are. And this is the passport, but it honestly is so much more room than you would think. Because like right now they look identical, but there is so much less space when you're doing these. But even if you think that it's not much of a difference, you can also do maybe a B6. Some people like the standard traveler's notebook sizes, which are still big, but they're in retrospect longer and not as wide. But instead of going super small like a passport or a pocket size, you can start in the middle. Start with the A6, start with a B6, start with a, I don't know, I'm blanking on sizes all of a sudden. But maybe slowly go down. When you go from the A5, go to a B5, then go to a B6, then go to an A6, then go to, I mean, a standard to an A6, then go down and down and down and down. That could honestly really help. And I'm not the person who went from A5 to passport. Honestly, I went from maybe a B6 to jumping to an A5, then I jumped to a passport, then I jumped to a standard traveler's notebook, and I was really chaotic. But I do think if I would have slowed down and went in order, that kind of could help. Maybe not, but it could. Okay, and the last tip is don't treat it any different than you did your other journals. Basically, don't psych yourself out. It's the same thing you always do, just smaller. It's still just a cover with binding and paper. That's it. That's all these are. And I think a lot of people, when they try to get into journaling, what especially creative journaling that's not daily journaling, they psych themselves out because of how big they are, how small they are, how much stuff they get. And it's the same as your big journal. You just don't have as much space. And that can seem really daunting to some people. And I also think that at the end of the day, it's up to you. And if you feel as though you feel better in the big one, stay in the big one. But if you want to try, try slow, go slow. Reminder, this is your happy place. This is not any type of race to do the best, to get there in time, or to do something quick. This is supposed to be fun and relaxing and enjoyable, but it's not going to be if you're looking at it like a chore. And this is just an extra tip, and I think it should be said, don't go small at all. You don't have to just because you see a cute notebook or journal online and someone else is using. I have that problem where I will be on YouTube and I will watch someone do a different type of journal, binder, traveler's notebook, and I'm like, oh, that's what I need. I need to do that one instead. That's what I'm missing. No, it's not, girl. You're not missing it. You don't want to be in an A6. You don't want to be in an A5. You like what you like, and that's okay. So if you don't want to do small, don't do small. If you want to do big. Girl, you're good. Anyway, that's pretty much it for my tips on how to journal small or to, I guess, transition to smaller journals. I hope this helped. If it did, go check out some of my other videos, and I will leave links to the playlist for my how to journal series in the next clip. But until next time, peace out, Girl Scouts. 'Cause I really hate you. 'Cause you made me so blue.